Everyone, welcome to another episode of Independent Artists Unite Song Series. I am so excited to have the gorgeous and talented Tiffadelic here today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Once I say you look great yourself, you're looking amazing.
As are you. And you're so hot right now. It's been hard for you to find the time to do this interview because things are just taking off like wildfire. It's so cool to see.
Oh yeah, it's been really hard to get through my messages and DMs right now. So I feel like just I need to spend a day just kind of like going through just messages. So yeah, I appreciate everybody being patient with me right now.
What do you think is this nerve you've struck with people? Because it's like it's really it's such a joy to watch, you know. I'm so happy for you, and it just like reinvigorates me for like music and reaching people and everything. It's really inspiring.
Yeah, I really feel like people, I've always felt like, okay, there's like high potential there for like a bigger reach. It's just like more of when is the moment. And I feel like this is the moment as it like gradually, inclines. So I just feel like it was just more about timing, honestly.
And I want to talk in depth about Nazareth B.O.P, but before that, take us back to little Tiffany. Is this the future you planned for yourself when you were a little girl? And
I,
talk a little bit about your development. And also, I want to know when you discovered, hey, wait a second, my voice is not like everyone else's.
I will say I have always been very into like I've had like an eclectic taste when it comes to music,
Mhm.
and that's really mainly to blame for my mother. She's very eclectic taste. So like back when I was like about 13, she and my stepdad got me my first like keyboard, and there was like these like presets of these like synthesizer sounds, and I love them so much. Like I just remember it feeling like just electrifying me and making me feel intense with lots of chills and just like very uplifting. And I was like, this is like what I want to do. Like I love guitar, I love playing in band, I love like the baritone and stuff like that, but piano is really where my like heart was for it. And then like when it came to my voice, I like have gone up and down with all types of ways of having my voice sound. And it was finally when I took vocal instruction in the past 2 years where I really started to find my voice and really just kind of really just get into the nitty gritty of the sound, taking like fundamentals of ear training and like music theory. I'm like, okay, I'm not really someone who can sing high notes. Like I can reach it when I have to for the classwork, but I really enjoy singing like alto tenor. So
Mm,
that's kind of like where that came from.
yeah, yeah. And did you start when you had that synthesizer? Did you start writing songs right away?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wrote like very like short, I would just come up with like random lyrics and I would just play them back. Or my friends, we would also make like really funny songs like with the guitar and the keyboard. We didn't really have information on how to use programming, and then also just like with money, like my parents weren't educated about what it took to record music, but we always would just have the instruments and play. It wasn't until about 2016 when I finally like bought my own laptop and
Mm.
my partner got like Logic Pro ready, and I just started like I just never left ever since. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the whole kind of like if you lived through it, just like advent of digital recording, it really was amazing because the cost of like going to a studio was like prohibitive for many artists in the past, and now everyone can record and get their stuff out there. So it's so cool. It's
Right.
like it's kind of like it's almost like more punk than punk rock, really.
That.
And when did the whole idea of Tiffadelic take shape? and
So
walk us through that a little bit.
so I will say I one of the artists I really found an attachment to when I was around 13. I feel like when I was 13 is when I really started to get into what was gonna help develop me like artistically. And Jimi Hendrix was very inspirational. Then I branched off to like the Doors, Jim Morrison, Jefferson Airplane, and I just went into the
Mm.
whole realm. And there was Black Sabbath, and I just like everything. I was like, so I feel like I kind of was a little wrapped into this psychedelic feel, almost like a person who is naturally psychedelic without the psychedelics. And
Yeah.
it was just like one of those things. So when I was 17, I was in my English class and I was brainstorming names and I was just like writing them out. I had Tiffadelic, Tiffaholic, Tiffa syndrome, and there was Tiffology. And I was like, I need to pick a name to go for it. I don't know why this happened, but I was just like, Tiffadelic it is, and circled it. And literally ever since that day, I have been Tiffadelic.
I think it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And did um did did your whole idea of like when did your idea of like your visuals and your imagery come into it? Like when did you decide this is going to be like a goth tinged adventure?
I so like I was saying, like from when I was like 13, I really was just in a lot of different types of eclectic like sounds with them, like just exploring. And I did have my phases where I dressed like a scene kid, I dressed like an indie kid, and then I just kind of started dressing goth. And that was a very like it was a very hard time for me in eighth grade because I had dealt with a lot of just things going on. My grades went down. I had so many things going on in my life. It was about to transition into high school, and I started wearing like all black. So I kind of left that behind because I was in a way bullied and picked on for being
Mm.
black and also wearing these dark things. The way I would wear my hair, I would wear like black skinny jeans, a black shirt, and then I had these really colorful like things in my hair, and I would wear like an afro, and people would say how ridiculous it was, how it was messing up my hair, and I shouldn't wear it. So like of course, being young, I let that get to me and I just took
Mm.
it all away and just stripped everything of me that looked different. And I just made myself look very just simple and natural. So as I started to, really, get older, and I would say my mid 20s, I really started to shift into this like look where I'd wear like a lots of flowery like drapery where it was like scarves, like just covering my entire body basically.
Mm.
And I'm really into, I don't know if anyone knows Stevie Boy. He has the same type of style, and it's got like a very like ethereal look to it. So I just decided I'm gonna just step into this because I've always wanted to look more goth and to sound like more on the goth side with the
Mm.
ethereal like sounds. And I will say some of my hard rock songs that I used to do, those songs really also inspired me to go further because I started performing vocally. These like I would start like kind of just going up and down like singing, kind of like a tribal effect, kind of similar
Mm.
to how there's like a uh in Nazareth, if you hear the song, you can hear these backing vocals.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like a ethereal like sound. So
You know,
all that
choir or
combined,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. So all that combined really just kind of like made this aesthetic for me. And I found out that I really am in love with lace. So yeah.
And when did you first put out music as Tiffadelic actually? I don't know. Was it
I
the last?
I believe it was in 2016. I put out my first song,
Okay.
Black Shade, on SoundCloud, and from there I just started to make more music. And then next thing you know, 2 years later, I got my first show in the underground scene in Detroit. I was kind of making more alternative, like hip hop and experimental music. And then that just kind of like transitioned over into the hard rock, more like with like mixture of post punk about 2021. And then I would say about 2023, 24 is when I really was like, I need to focus on post punk, minimal wave, dark wave, and the experimental. And I decided, like, this is going to be where I'm going to be because I can go
It's the
all over
thing.
the. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could hear your voice in all kinds of music, but I just think it's so cool that you decided to do this, you know. It actually the closest thing I can think of it, or it just reminds me a little bit is I don't know if you know Yaz, Alison Moyet. As
Yes.
yeah, she had that kind of husky voice. Yours is even lower than hers, but she had that kind of soulful approach with the over the you know, Vince Clarke's keyboard keyboard stuff, and it just for some reason I think it's like it's such a great showcase for your voice, you know, because I mean, once you throw a bunch of guitars in there or like a heavy rock or something, then you know it's like the certain frequencies of your voice it can't not going to punch through anymore, you know. But a synth like the synth landscape just like creates a nice little bed for that low voice. I just love it.
Oh, Yaz is it's so funny you bring Yaz up because I heard those songs so much as a kid. Sometimes you just don't remember who the artist like name is, and I went crazy one day. I'm like, oh my God, this song, like it would, and I just looked it up and I was like, oh my goodness, like this is like a part of like the inspiration. Same thing with like Annie Lennox's voice and
Hmm.
Quincy Jones, and like I grew up listening to that music. So it makes sense.
And talk a little bit about because I know I've seen on some of your Instagram posts that some families or ex-lovers and whatnot have like said, ah, you can't do this, you know, your voice is not right or something. They were doubting you, you know. And this is like a huge victory I love to see too, that you have stuck with it and kind of kept the middle finger to the doubters.
It happens a lot to artists, and I've been told, because of like some of my influences, especially just only speaking, because I have a lot of influences, in different genres, but I have certain connections with people where some people I connect to, they're really into like post punk, or there's like my friends that are really into metal, or there's my friends that are really into like the old school, like psychedelic rock or classic rock. So actually, one of my friends that was on that side of the things who met me through like just my obsession with Jimi Hendrix, they just told me they don't really see my music going anywhere, and it wasn't like making sense, and that my that my inspirations weren't coming out in my music. And I disagreed, and I said, okay, well, thanks for letting me know your opinion. Like, I'm going to show you that that's not the truth. So it's unfortunate. And I've also been told also by, teachers, that my voice was like, one of my professors had said to me, we're going to let Tiff go first because her voice is weird. Like he just straight up said that in the
Oh,
class. And
geez.
I'm just like, okay, like I'm like, you know what? You just empowered me to keep going with this voice because you find it weird and maybe you're uncomfortable with queerness. I don't know. Or you can't handle a woman sounding that way, which was very odd. And I've also been told when I'm singing low, they're just like, okay, come up here. Like, like, so it's like, I just, I don't know. I feel like why not push even harder? I feel like when people start talking to me like that, it just makes me go harder.
It's time to double down. It's funny, you know, I worked at the Metropolitan Opera in New York actually for like 8 years. And it's like the mezzo soprano, you know, that lower voice is such a prized thing, like a true mezzo soprano, which I think you would be if you like trained uh, in classically. It's like there's just like it's just like such a prized thing, and there's very few women that like are these true mezzo sopranos that have that lower voice.
Right.
So yeah, you're you're but you're being appreciated now, which is so awesome.
Yes, it's really feels great to hear. I really didn't expect people online to be so blown away by my voice or my music. I'd never seen this day coming in a way. Um, it just feels good to hear even these younger people reaching out and saying how their voice is low and they didn't know what to do with it, and then just hearing and seeing somebody like me has made them realize that they can make it and that they will make it. And I it makes like it brings me to tears to like hear that, because I'm just like, I want to inspire people, especially younger people who may be embarrassed that they don't sound like everybody on the radio, because
Mm,
that's not what it's, about. Like, that's not, you got to be yourself and you got to be comfortable in embracing your sound. That's what makes art. We need unique sounds. We need different sounds. We need things that people have not seen or heard of. And I just feel like sometimes we're tapped out, and then boom, there's someone that comes out and does something that you might have seen like little its and bits, but it's like you haven't seen it before. So yeah.
yeah. And when you get those kind of comments and you realize, oh, there are these people that need inspiration, and also like the Black goth community as well. Is it like, does that go into like a song like Nazareth? Like you think, does that like kind of re-inspire you to think, hey, now there needs to be a song, you know?
Absolutely. I feel like I let the ancestors talk and I delivered. It was kind of like that kind of thing with the Nazareth song.
Yeah,
And
like a channeling.
oh, absolutely. And then making it so where other people of color can like really relate, and just adding like even in the music video you can see like there's like clips of like the Black Panthers and just like the police brutality that happened in the 60s, and there's like Martin Luther King, there's Malcolm X, and then we're showing like all the things happening also across the world and whatnot, and just kind of like just showing the oppression and how people of color are treated overall. So I feel like it's very important to bring that in to the goth community, because we see it in the hip hop, community. We see it sometimes in the punk community as well. But I just feel like in the goth community, I felt like it was my duty to make it, bring it in there. So
Yeah, yeah, I think it's so cool. And
yes.
I was asking you, can you read the lyrics to Nazareth for us,
Yeah.
and then kind of talk us through?
So let me get this up.
Take as many detours as you want as you're reading.
So it's just funny you asked, because I did want to kind of just go over some of these lines. I do come from a Christian Baptist background. However, I am not religious, and I have all respect for, all religions and whatnot. But I felt like as someone who used to be in the church, I have studied, Christ. My birthday is on Christmas. Like,
Oh,
I just,
really?
yeah, so I was like, okay, I was very intrigued as a kid, and I asked a lot of questions, and people couldn't really answer the questions that I had. So,
Hmm.
um, I just have my own opinions, and the way the United States is supposed to be a Christian nation, and I just feel the hypocrisy overall, because I feel like if we were actually following what the Bible wanted, we wouldn't be bombing and doing these things to people.
Hmm.
The violence, that's the part.
That's for
Um,
sure.
yeah, so got the lyrics pulled up here. So it starts with the you wonder why you can't decide on life again. You stare into their eyes just to plant bombs within.
Hmm.
So when I say you wonder why you can't decide on life again, I'm really talking about how people, I kind of related it back to Nazi Germany, where
Hmm.
we all know Adolf Hitler committed suicide, and they all realized, and then there was lots of like Nazis that committed suicide too. So I kind of was like channeling that and saying how, you're doing all this stuff, you're going to end up basically in the same mental position that those people were when they
Hmm.
were creating genocide. And you won't be able to decide to live because you've done so much harm. Then the part where I say you stare into their eyes to just plant bombs within, that's the surveillance, that's the watching, that's the coming in and planting these bombs, basically, just all the stuff. And then also kind of relating back to how there's no privacy anymore, and we have all this just stuff going on just in general with the government. So that's what that line pretty much was about. Then I go on to say their mother's father swept into the tide again, you stolen from the tribes that let you walk again. So their mother's father, because kind of relates back to science with genealogy, how they say like the father's genes are dominant, and it's like you're erasing this heritage. You're bombing so bad to the point where the graves are getting destroyed, and what
Mm.
happens? Destruction. It all goes back into the ocean. So there's that, and then the tribe part, just tribal, kind of relating back to the indigenous land, how what happened to indigenous people here. And it's like these people have let you walk off scot-free. And yes, there's reparations, but everybody is not getting their reparations. So it's like,
Mm.
it's just like they constantly just get away with this over and over and over. Um, Going on, the part where I say you left our people on the ground to bleed again, you bombed the cities where Jesus rested and died again. It's the way they have basically turned Jesus into this white figure rather than this was a Palestinian man. So it's more just biblical line right there.
Mm.
And I'm calling out again the hypocrisy, and it's like let's speak of the truth and actually call it what it is. And how they have left the people, just like I have clips of George Bush in the video, how when
Mm.
he was told about 9/11, it's like he didn't make moves to, quickly, and just how they're leaving these people, to bleed. Um, I say next, you strike the ones who still know how to love again. You let their souls perish and you claim your land again. Trying to basically, that line is really just about them cleansing, the ethical cleansing,
Mm.
like the ethic cleansing, and basically, destructing the heritage and everything like that. That's pretty much what that line was really about, and letting their souls perish, and just repeatedly doing this, and because they're just never going to stop. It's going to keep happening no matter how many people they kill. Um, and then I go on to say, you reap your karma, so then you'll never see again. You preach of Jesus and claim he's not the man. Kind of the same type of,
Mm.
just kind of reiterating that again. And I say, you claim the people will take your people's land again from way back then, but still then you bomb them. Another biblical line, because of just, all the history and how long this has been going on. And I do understand, however, like with the war, it's like, has to do with like resources and stuff like that. But this stuff goes way back. It still has some form of like a religious thing. And I just see the hypocrisy and bombing a land where someone that is technically being worshipped, you're doing that. So it just makes no sense. Even like, within the stories of the biblical, like Jesus left Nazareth. He had to leave because he was treated bad and his own people didn't believe in him. So it just goes back, and it's like history repeating itself. Um,
Mm.
and then I just repeat the bomb them thing, and that kind of gives like the emotion to let them hear and see. Even in the videos at that part, it's showing the bombs going off in all type everywhere. So that's
Yeah.
really overall the lyrics, pretty much the breakdown. Yeah.
I think it's so powerful, especially with your uh your low voice saying the bomb, it's just like so it's so I don't know what it is. You just like that really hits. It really hits. Yeah. Yeah.
The part I was like, wow, this really sounds very, it's got like a militant post-punk vibe. Like the bass notes are very, even that, it sounded to me like a shot or a bomb, like boom
Mm.
boom boom boom. And then I like the voice, and then the faces I'm making, it's like, look at this disgust that you've created. And
Mm.
so,
And Talk a bit about is he a musical partner, the keyboardist? Do you work on the music with him, or or is he just for playing live, or?
So that is my technically bandmate, Joe Brightner. We've known each other since high school, and he's
Oh, that's
helped.
so cool.
Yeah, like he does the setting up of the live shows. He also plays live with me. It's just me and him. We were in a band together. It was about 6 people, but as I've moved on and like kind of decided like this is the direction I want. So I've always wanted to do a two piece band. So he also helps with production, co-producing, and he plays like the instruments on my tracks as well. He's the one that actually co-produced and mixed and mastered my song "I Tried."
Oh,
So
by,
yeah, he
by the way, I love that song. I mean, yeah, you can check Spotify for artists. You'll see how many times I just love that. I tried to do what I tried to do. I tried to
yeah, thank you.
and over that synth line is just like golden. It's also like for me is like that is what I loved from the 80s, is that kind of Yaz thing and that kind of Kraftwerk thing or Depeche Mode when they just had these really simple um, keyboard sounds or parts, that are repeating and with the soulful vocal over it, that's also something that I love to do. And yeah, I never get tired of hearing that sort of thing. It's like I don't know what it is about it.
Yeah, it's something about it. I feel the same way. Just my mom's a big '80s baby, and I you're around it for so long, you just end up kind of like it just becomes a part of you. So, yeah, I love
It,
it too.
does your mom enjoy your music now? I mean, is she cheering you on?
She does. She's got a lot going on, but she definitely enjoys the music I'm making. I think it kind of blows her away because sometimes she's a little speechless. I thought I was gonna be a rapper or something, and I would like because she's seen all parts of me and she sees my freestyling and my writing, but
Mm.
my mom's also like really into like old school '80s like hip hop, so she's always like asking for that stuff on the side, but I'm like, no, like I'm in my like I'm in where I need to be right now, so she's accepting it, like she's dealing with it, she's processing it.
Um, and talk a little bit about your visuals because I mean, are in some videos you actually are wearing like, is it like a nun's outfit or is it just like close?
Um, Actually, I kind of mixed it up a bit, but it wasn't directly the nun dress that goes with the actual like headwear, but I kind of mixed it up just to give that edge because like I said, like it was just more like, all right, let's put this on. I feel like um the best way to get people to hear you is kind of to just like get them to relate in a way. That's where
Mhm.
that kind of came from.
Yeah.
Plus, like really cool, kind of leading from the song "Ring Around the Rose." I had used the same headpiece in there, and I always wanted to wear it. There's this artist named Laura J. I don't think they're making music anymore, but they're from the UK. They did like a nun cover before, and they're also a black artist, and I thought that was so dope. I'm like, I would love one day to just like see what it would look like, and now here I am.
The sexy nun
Exactly.
just destroying the
Right?
patriarchy and
Exactly.
I mean, too, what you're saying with I mean, when you have Trump sitting there quoting the Bible,
That
you know, that's
it's
wow.
pretty
That's,
sickening. I'm very. It's disgusting to see. Honestly, I'm so speechless. I'm like the only thing I can do is write about it. I hear everyone around me talking about it, and I just get so sad and quiet. But then it comes out so loud in my music, so loud. So,
and where do you see things going because it's like I mean it's hard to have hope at times in this environment unless you like do you like latch on to the idea that this is about like things are about to collapse and things are and something better will rise. I mean that's kind of what I'm going for.
I really just like I really feel like now is really the time for everyone to be coming together and using our communities and building within down below all the people up top because they're not going to do anything for us. They're stripping everything away from us, and we have to depend on each other. This is the time also for people to leave those negative toxic traits behind of like the using or not being able to trust each other, because like we need to be able to trust each other. Like it's to the point now where these relationships we're building with like people we don't know, we have to be better so that it is easier to trust, because we all have our issues. It's like you first meet somebody, you don't really want to like give too much or let in, but
Mhm.
like now is literally the time to depend on your neighbor. And I feel
Mhm.
like it's so important to become a better person mentally, so that you can be able to give back, and so that people are comfortable and they can feel like if you're in the street and something's happening, somebody's going to come to your rescue before the police would or something. Like we're going to need that. So
Yeah. Well, I got your back. Whenever, if you're ever in Denmark, I got your back. Or Europe in general. I'll travel to for the Tiffadelic experience for sure.
thank you.
And you're doing more and more live shows as well, right? This is I saw you said yeah, I thought it was so cool that you made a post on Instagram where you said, "Where should I play, y'all?"
Many cities, people were like, please come here, please do this, please do that. And I was like, all right, let me get a bunch of people to comment and tell us so that I could send it to my music manager, because they're getting together the cities and they're building a tour right now.
Mhm.
So we're really working hard on that. Some shows are booked. I haven't been able to unfortunately announce them yet, but it's coming up in the next week or so. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be really great.
Well, it's super exciting. I hope you come over to Europe as well.
Oh, we're working on it.
Um, and what's next for Tiffadelic? You had hinted that there was a love song coming at one point, I saw.
Yeah, so that one got the little sneak peek got a lot of traction, and it seems to be a demand for that one. So I added that to the album Retro Synthesis. So it's going to be an 11 track album coming out at the end of August.
The end of
But that's
August. Oh, awesome.
yes, so that's coming. I was going to do September 18th, but I think because of the demand, we're going to get it out like possibly 2 weeks before.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, well, that's going to be the next thing, and then following along with the tour.
Ah,
So
well, I look forward to that and more power to you. I'm such a fan and keep doing what you're doing. And thank you so much for making the time to do the show because I know you're getting busier and busier these days.
absolutely, I appreciate you.
And it was such a joy to meet you and talk with you like this. I really appreciate it.
Likewise, I hope we can definitely stay in touch for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.